everybody. This is Stefan on this beautiful Saturday morning here in Saltillo. I hope you had the chance to join. Of course, you know today is going to be a very special episode, kickoff of 2021. So we're going to jump right into it. Today we have a very special guest, the 2020 Model Y, and we're going to look at some of the features of it. I hope there's not too much noise in the background. Some features of it, and of course some technology. So let's walk right around it. So let's kick it off with some walking around the car. First, I will switch the camera to the front. So, as you can see, it's the white version. This specific car has a dual engine, so one engine in the front, one engine in the back. It's the long range model. Has multiple sensors in the front, which is really interesting, and many cameras. So here, for example, the wheelhouse cameras, the side door cameras, which then we can look at from the inside. The charging board here in the back, beautiful glass window, rear lights, normal wheels, another set of cameras here on the left. So here, cameras here in the wheelhouse, and of course here, cameras on the top that it needs for the driving assistant and autonomous driving. It has a frunk, they call it a trunk in the front, which is quite big, a big size bag fits there easily, and it has a very nice big trunk in the back. We can look at that. So it says here dual motor. So it is quite huge here in the back. As you can see, there's some additional space down here and the charging cable. Well, let's go back inside. Well, so I hope you can hear me now. Yes, for sure. Need to turn this down. Very good. So let's get right into it. As you can see, initially we had a huge screen here in the middle. You have now a second view from an additional camera. So you're looking backwards here at me, but also here on the, let me turn this off. Settings audio. Okay, let me see if this works. If not, we need to use this mic. Hello? Okay. Now it's good. Okay, little audio situation. So perfect. Now we are back inside the car. As you can see, huge screen in the middle. We basically the whole car handles itself with one big touchscreen. You have two small buttons on the wheel, and that's basically the whole interface. You can also see there is a huge, nice space right on each side of the screen. So the air conditioner also comes very nicely from the front, which I've appreciated a lot, because actually the air conditioner is one of the better functions that the car has. So if we go through the menu, basically you have the main adjustments here. You have a nice view of the car that you can also rotate. There is the whole audio settings. You have radio, phone, Spotify, and a very fun karaoke mode tune-in once you have all the accounts dialed in. Really interesting is the cameras. So you have a nice view on the side cameras and on the back cameras. of course, some wiper mode, and then lots of additional features, the call mode for cell phone connection, the calendar, again, the cameras, the energy, which I will take a little, talk a little bit later. You have a web browser here, fully functional, so the car is always connected to the internet as well, which is really interesting. So it has a 3G connection with AT&T here specifically in Mexico. So you can always look up the internet and some web pages. Then it also has an entertainment button. So there is different games on it on the arcade side, and also have a full theater mode, which is YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, and some tutorials, which are really nice also from the directly from Tesla, if you want to know some more about the car. Okay. Then there is a toy box, which they call it, which is really interesting. So you have some interesting toys here. The best thing I found is what they call the romance mode, which is a bonfire mode. What the car basically does, it puts a huge bonfire on the screen and puts on the air conditioner, so you can actually feel like if you were sitting on a bonfire. I like that a lot. Very, very comfortable, very romantic. So basically, going back to the main settings, you also can see the air condition. It detects if there is a passenger here, and if the passenger is not there, it doesn't turn off this side. You can see the airflow out of the channels. You can basically direct exactly as you want them. You can direct them to the side, you can direct them to the center, and the car adjusts internally the airflow. A very, very comfortable flow. As I mentioned, air condition, one of the better features of the car. Of course, temperature, it has seat heating, front and rear heating, which I haven't used too much. And basically that's the main features on the adjustment side. Really interesting, the energy consumption. So it shows you the live energy consumption, which you can see over the last 50 kilometers that the car used in average 198 watt hours per kilometer, which is a pretty impressive consumption compared to what's in the market right now. Then we have the charging. Everybody always talks about the charging, right? How does the charging work? Is it difficult? How often do you have to charge? Actually, it's quite easy. Over the last 3 weeks, it really has been once a week at most that you need to charge, and it's really easy to do. Actually, if you do it at night, you don't spend any time on charging it at all. That's basically it from the controls part. So let's take a ride. Let's see how it drives, and then you can see also what's on the screen while you're driving. So I will navigate actually to the Supercharger. So you can also see the Supercharger and what it does. So basically it makes the route, and you can also see that the car automatically starts to heat up the battery. So the car actually prepares the battery, it reconditions the battery to be able to go into the Supercharger mode. So basically on the left side, the car knows the size of the street, and depending on the size and the quantity of the driving lanes that you have, it depends on how much different functionalities regarding to autopilot, etc. So as you can see, it goes very smoothly. There's almost no noise inside the car. Aerodynamically, it's also very well done, and it has no real noise from the outside either. So once you're on the highway, it detects the speed signs. So it does it with the cameras actually, right? So it detects the 50 kilometer per hour speed sign, and then it adjusts here. And now it went back to the 50 kilometer per hour. So that's all something that the car does itself, and it's really interesting how it guides you to drive properly. You can see it detects the lanes and detects all the other lanes of the highway as well. And then you could actually engage in a speed in a speed control, which is pretty standard for cars today. So you still have to use the steering wheel yourself. You don't have to press the clutch or the brake and the gas no more, but you still have to turn the driving wheel, and you have to basically take care of the car. Once we go on the other highway, I will show you how it actually works on a bigger highway. So on a bigger highway, the car actually is able to get into a semi-autopilot or a lane assistant, which then drives perfectly between the lanes itself without even having the hands on the wheel, right? So as you can see, super smooth ride. It's going to take us about 10 minutes to get there, and you can also see what happens when other cars are approached. It actually gets to sense what type of car it is. So here in front we have a DHL delivery van, right? So the DHL delivery van shows up on the screen here, and you can see how this guy is driving. It also shows some traffic cones and the traffic that comes by on the left side now, which is interesting. It shows it right on the screen as well. So you can see, oh, a car is coming to the left, then the car shows up on the left. So it gives you a real good view around of your surroundings, and then if you put in the signal, it starts to accelerate again, right? So the DHL guy was quite slow, and once the other guy in the front moves, then it accelerates the car again. You can see it goes back to the 85 that I mentioned. With the small button here on the wheel, you can adjust the velocity very easily, 1 km/h at a time. So now we're going to take a right turn here and see what it does with the full autopilot engaged, right? So now we're getting into a bigger highway. Really interesting how it senses the lanes and the different cars, and it helps you to also drive safely. It warns you if you cross the lines without blinking and stuff like that, right? So it says you need to take control, and then it pushes me back into the lane. Actually, the force feedback on the driving wheel is quite strong if compared to other force feedback that you get. On this wheel, you have to actually turn it pretty toughly to be able to overcome the lane assistant. So now we can go a little bit faster. It's allowed here. And then we can engage the full assistant. You just have to push down this twice. So now it shows you with the blue lines here, it shows you that you have actually engaged the driving assistant, and both the velocity and the steering wheel direction is controlled now by the car. So it wants you to keep the hands on the wheel all the time, but you don't have to actually do it, right? If it recognizes that you're not paying attention, or that you're not having the hands on the wheel, it would ask you to apply slight force, so it would actually make sure that you're actually driving the car. So pretty neat. So this corner, for example, turns it perfectly automatically. Very smooth, very different to other systems I've been driving, where you can see that it really is kind of correcting all the time, but this is so smooth. It's very forward looking. It looks out in front of the car a few hundred meters and drives automatically. So this is now full auto drive. So it adjusts, of course, to the speed of the cars in front of us. So you can see we're still 7 minutes out. Once we're there, we're going to have a look at the Supercharger, which is pretty impressive as well. also the charging power that it actually has, and how it charges the car is super interesting. As I mentioned, the charging is really not a big thing. Honestly, it's like a cell phone, right? You don't really think of the battery of the cell phone all the time either, right? You just use it, and when you reach certain level, then you plug it in. On the cell phones now, with the smartphones, of course, it's almost every night. But with that car, if you drive regularly, it's maybe it's once a week, twice a week is a lot. So you come home at night, you plug it in, it charges overnight. It would actually charge it exactly as you have scheduled it. You can schedule the charging as well. You can say, you know what, I want to leave tomorrow at 7 a.m. or at 6:30 a.m. and it would charge the car, right? So it's ready to drive when you want to leave, which is pretty neat as well. And it preheats the car. You can set up your regular schedule in the morning when you leave, and the car is warm and comfy. Air conditioning with this new technology that the Model Y has. It has a heat pump. It's the first model that Tesla produces that has a heat pump, which actually helps a lot for the air condition, especially for the warming up of the passenger area. And it's very, very comfortable. And since the airflow is not concentrated, it's in this wide slot that we saw in the front of the dashboard. It really, really feels very comfortable. You never feel like the air coming right at you with a high speed. You can also see that there is lots of room on the top of me, and you have this very nice glass ceiling or glass roof that is completely panoramic, and is also, of course, polarized, so the sun wouldn't hit you too hard. But at the end, it's very nice. So we're almost there. Once we're at the Supercharger, we're going to change the camera setup again, so we can look at the outside and how it actually works. I know that in the US, the Supercharger has a premium cost to it, so it costs to charge. In Mexico, it's not the case. In Mexico, supercharging is for free, which is really nice, because at the end, if you want to take a really long trip, you have the chance to load up the car on the way for free, until now. Also at home, of course, it's beneficial to have solar panels, which are quite inexpensive right now, and specifically in this zone in Mexico. It makes a lot of sense. Solar panels are super efficient here. We have a high altitude and of course lots of sunny days. So we're almost there. One U-turn and we're at the Supercharger. So all this time I've been driving now with the assistance. It takes over the steering wheel and really drives it smoothly and nicely and very safely. Sees a lot of traffic ahead, understands what's happening with bigger trucks and stuff. So that's really beneficial. Okay. Go back here. Okay, that was the front camera. Rough roads here. Going back on the highway. Has really nice acceleration as well, due to the fact that it has the electric engines both in the back and the front. Really, if you hit the gas pedal, it's really quick up to speed. Makes a lot of fun, specifically to overtake, for example, specifically to make some moves on the road. It's really cool to do. Very good. So we are here. This is the Supercharger that Tesla put here in the area, specifically for people that make long road travels. And I will show, before we get out, I will show here on the screen how the trip planning actually works. So you can see how they plan the whole trip out for you regarding charging, so you understand that it's not a problem either. So we'll just stop here. You can see there is 6 superchargers here in this specific electricity station. I will go now in the parking mode. I will put in, for example, if I would decide to go to Mexico City in this moment. I hope you can see it. It's calculating the route, right? So it says what's our next stops, right? So it basically gives you the whole road planning. So you can see, for example, in this case, to be able to make the whole route, we would have to charge here slightly, and then we can take off and we can do the whole 5-hour trip. We can do the whole 5-hour trip in one trip, right? So let's charge it up. So I open up the charging port. I change up the setup and let's go out. Switch the cam over here. Switch the camera here in the back. So basically, this is what a supercharger would look like, right? So you would have a multiple stations. You would have the car here. This is the charging port. So you basically only take the charging cable, huge charging cable. You plug it in, and then the supercharging would start. You could also hear the inverters are going really loud because, of course, there's lots of energy that gets pumped into the car. So right now you can see it on the screen. The charging starts, right? And then, interestingly, at the beginning, it pushes in lots of energy, right? You can see it's charging now at almost 280 kilometers per hour, right? So every hour it would add 260 kilometers of driving distance. That's basically how the supercharging works. That's, of course, is very quick, right? It's also a little bit tough on the battery, so people would recommend, or the manufacturer would recommend not to do it all the time, which is understandable. Well, that was basically it. Small introduction in the 2020 Model 3. I don't know if there's any comments and questions. Let's see that. Oh yeah, Lucia, I did like it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's a very interesting piece of technology. It also has, for example, a dash camera. So what it would do is there is a little USB stick port here in the center console, and what it would do, it would, whenever somebody approaches your car, it would start all the cameras, so you can actually look at the footage of what happened while you were away from the car. It would not turn this on, for example, if you're in your home, but it's really interesting to use the technology, to use the cameras and the other equipment that it has to add additional features. In the month there has also been already 2 software updates. So Interestingly, as with the iPhone, there's always software updates all the time. There's also this little camera here that you can't access right now. So the car also has additional hardware built in that is currently not accessible to the user, but will be used for future features. And that's really something interesting as well. So not all the hardware is used right now. There is still something that they can build on or improve. Well, at the end, I wanted to sum up this this little video with a comment one of our neighbors made, which is, at the end, it's from a driving experience, it's very different, it's very comfortable, it's very easy to drive. And from a usage, it's really a big iPad, an iPad Pro with wheels, right? A very comfortable one, a very quick one. So really the whole experience of a car that we are used to from 20 years, 40 years, 50 years ago has now completely transformed, and it's really exciting. I would recommend everybody to ask the local dealer for a driving experience. They are pretty open. You can contact the Tesla dealer that's close to you and ask for a driving experience. Very well. That's all for today. That was super exciting. I hope you had fun. You learned a little bit more about how it actually works, how does Tesla actually, the experience actually works. And I hope you get inspired. And let's have a great 2021 with lots of technology, lots of Saturdays sharing and discussing technology. I'm very, very much looking forward. There is going to be some exciting guests in the future coming up. And see you soon. Thank you.